Hi students, welcome to another session. So we are dealing with unit 3, that is basis of human behavior. In that the first topic is evolutionary perspective. So far we have seen that there is an important aspects we have to learn from this third unit, and we shall see what is there in this evolutionary perspective. You must have observed that people differ with respect to their physical and psychological characteristics. The uniqueness of individuals results from their interaction of genetic endowments and environmental demands. So it is the relation between the genes and the you can say it is the environment. The gene is the biological characteristic, and the environment is a social characteristic. It is the information between their communication. In this world, there are millions of different species of organisms differing in a variety of ways. Biologists believe that these species were not always like this. They have evolved to their present form from their pre-existing forms. It is estimated that the characteristics of modern human beings developed some 2 lakh years ago as a result of their continuous interaction with the environment. As here we need to understand this, like it is an evolution. The part itself, the unit itself, deal with the evolution, how we have developed from earlier to this day, and it is a long journey. And most importantly, how from the animal to human being. That's what earlier we said, that the only one primate, Homo sapiens, as this is the first species which tried to develop from the animal to human being. And there is also important thing. Evolution refers to gradual and orderly biological changes that result in a species from their pre-existing forms in response to the changing adoptional demands of their environment. Physiological as well as behavioral changes that occur due to the evolutionary process are so slow that they become visible after hundreds of generations. If you can see the development so far, as I said, that is 2 lakh years. But what it has done, if you can check with the earlier minutes, that we have only 7 to 8 major steps, that the horizontal spine to the vertical spine, walking, and usage of brain, usage of mental capacities, capabilities, cognitive functions, and then evolving much further and faster than animals. Evolution occurs through the process of natural selection. You know that members of each species vary greatly in their physical structure and behavior. The traits or characteristics that are associated with high rate of survival and reproduction of these species are the most likely ones to be passed on to the next generation. Here, as is the changes, we have to think of how these changes are being done. It is with the natural interactions and survival. It is how the animals are protecting themselves. And the other important thing is reproduction. Here, if you can see, in the past centuries, the lifespan of human being has evolved. Earlier, it is just 10 to 25 years, but now the maximum expected rate and the lifespan of 100 years is being achieved by most of the human beings. And Japan, India is also having an age of 60 to 70 life expectation rate. The probability of living conditions has improved a lot. This also plays a key role uh, in this species evolution. When repeated generations after generation, natural selection leads to the evolution of new species that are more effectively adapted and to their particular environment. If you can see the species offspring, you can also call it as offspring. The offspring of parents is better than their children. Sorry, the children are the child offspring is better than the parents, and the grandparents more better than their grandparents. The language improves, the skills improve, whatever they perform, that will be stored in their genes and evaluate according to the environment. This is very similar to the selective breeding of horses or other animals these days. Generally, artificial insemination and there is hybrid in the species animals. Of course, plants also they are developed and breeding liger. If you can see the breed between lion and tiger, and most probably even humans in during the evolution also selects a primate, particularly the partner, the most strongest partner they will select and mate with them. This is the process of evolution. That's how a healthy human being has developed so far. Breeders select the fittest and the fastest male and female horses from their stock and promote them for selective breeding so that they can get the fittest horses. If you can see the example of a horse breeding, they will go for the finest and fittest of the that particular group. You can call as a staple. In that horse group, you will select the fittest and finest. Fastest, the quality of the horse is the fast running fast, right? So how the which horse is running fast, they will select, and the fittest they will take that breed and breed them, promote them for the other life. Fitness is the ability of an organism to survive and contribute its genes to the next generation. Fitness refers to the fastness is the characteristic. Fitness is the capacity of survival, and these genes are transferred to the female organism and then it is developed. There are three important features of modern human beings differentiate them from their ancestors. So what is the major difference? Let us see. A bigger and developed brain with increased capacity for cognitive behaviors like perception, memory, reasoning, problem solving, and use of language for communication. If you can see how the brain has developed is a bigger and developed brain. The first point which we have to see is that if you can see here, the man's brain is mostly evolved. The cerebrum, particularly the gray matter, is highly evolved in human being. All the others have little and very little evolved parts in this related to brain. This is the major difference between the animals and a human being. Next, what does this area is used to most? What is this developed brain is used for? For cognitive behaviors. For example, during the threats, for example, say to move from place to place, you have to deal with the memory and perceive the environment and problem solving skills and communication. These are the major areas where you can improve. The next important point is ability to walk upright on two legs. This is what this is just a funny picture, and if you can see, it evolved from the four legs, depending on a four legs to two legs. Maybe it can be for faster movement or for the energy conservation. Man has started using only two legs and hands for the purpose of work. So this is the difference. If you see animals, they stand on four legs, and for human being it is two legs. And then the next point is the difference, major difference is a free hand with a workable opposing thumb. Workable opposing thumb refers to, uh, so if you can see the thumb, the thumb is the major development in evolution. If you can see, the animals may not use the thumb effectively, but in order to catch and hold objects, thumb plays a key role. And if you can count numbers, you can touch every other finger with the help of thumb on your hand. That's the major one. And to catch the in the primates, if you can see the apes and chimpanzees, they they take help of thumb to catch trees and their bark or trunk or the stems to jump from one tree to another tree and to catch food and eat. So this is the major thing which these are the three major things, that is a well developed brain and able to walk on two legs and use of thumb, that is workable opposing thumb. Our behaviors are highly complex and more developed than those of other species because we have got a large and highly developed brain. Human brain development is evidenced by two facts. Firstly, weight of brain is about 2.35% of the total weight of the human being. It is the highest of all species. If you can go to the earlier slides, what is the occupation of the brain? Even though shark is a bigger animal, but the brain portion is compared to human being is very less. Human being, it is occupying the 2% of the body weight and most oxygen consumption. And if you can see an elephant, here it is evident. And if it is an elephant, elephant is just 0.2%. Secondly, the human cerebrum is more evolved than other parts of the brain. And for example, see, if you can see, it is very plain, but for human being it is more connected and the parts are very evolved and that differentiate animal behavior to the human behavior. These are the major things we have to remember in this evolutionary perspective. We have to see what are the important parts so far in the human being. These evolutions have resulted due to the influence of environmental demands. Some behaviors play an obvious role in evolution. For example, the ability to find food, avoid predators, and defend one's young, or the objectives related to the survival of organisms as well as their species. The biological and behavioral qualities which are helpful in meeting these objectives increase an organism ability to pass it on to the future generation through its genes. The environmental demands lead to the biological and behavioral changes over a period of longer time. If you can see, that's what we discussed in the major evolution in the hand and the brain, because it is the demand of environment. If you see a threat, you have to start thinking creatively. If you encounter a tiger, you have to start thinking creatively to escape from it. And then if you encounter a threat, a like a drought situation, you have to think for the water and finding food. And for animals, daily it is a hunt, but a human being, it works and stores food. Most of the other animals do store food, but where it comes from, it is because of the environmental demand. In rainy season, we may not get much work. In summer season, we have to work more. In winter season, we have to protect ourselves from the sun and the rain. All these things, all these developments, like constructing house, drainage system, all these clothing, social securities, all these things has evolved from generation to generation according to the demand. But if you see now, the pandemic situation has made us to communicate through the computer screens. It is the demand of the hour, it is the need of the hour. Earlier we are used to communicate through the blackboard, but now the digital boards. It has evolved. It is the evolution. The food habits has evolved. We are now more health conscious. The earlier it is just what we get and what we eat, but now there are lots of delicious taste preferences and health consciousness. And even now, if you can see the body maintenance, all these things, what has developed us, the machines which we have developed for the comfortability of life. These are all the environmental demands. The world evolves according to the needs. Need is the master. And this is how the evolutionary perspective is. And that's all for the session we have for today. So far, we discussed what is the evolutionary perspective, what is the need for the fittest and finest breeding, what is the major difference for the human beings, and the features from the animals to the human beings we have discussed, and the how the process works, what is the need for this fittest and finest organism in the crowd or the group. And if you have any queries, please write to us. And thank you so much. Have a great day.